We'll get to that momentarily. We'll get to the Carlos Alcaraz historic upset last night. We will get to Paul Carr, Premier League plays coming. Chris Felica, the Bear from Fox Sports, talk college football with us. Jason Weingarten. Dr. Bob makes his weekly college football appearance. I'm not sure if he has any additional plays from what he's already given out. He'll certainly repeat those. But we'll talk how he comes up with his college football priors. For those who want nerdy handicapping talk, we'll talk about how he comes up with his priors and week one trends in college football through the years, macro trends that he's got the old database. He does his model, he does his technical analysis, so we'll get into his technical analysis on that kind of stuff. First, though, I just want to shout out Mitch and Paul. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard, who have done Follow the Money for 7 years. Kelly, you and I, just to give perspective on this, Kelly, you and I wake up, not together, by the way. I wake up at 4:55 a.m. to do a 7 a.m. morning show. So 2 hours before the show starts, with 5 minutes change. I assume they get up 2 hours before their show, too. Mm-hmm. They have broadcast now for 7 years from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. So their world, the difference between what we do and what they do is, even though we wake up early, we can have normal lives. What they have done for 7 years is mind-boggling. They wake up literally in the middle of the night to do a show at the crack of dawn. And I know East Coast, they're like, oh, it's 7 to 10. But right. They're actually up from 4 to 7 or have been. And what a moment in in their lives this must be, that this is the last day they ever have to do that again. Now, I know their loyal audience is sad that they're moving, but Mitch has a child now, and after 7 years, think about the percentage of your life that is.
Wow, it's crazy.
If you're lucky enough to live 80 years, that is a massive percentage of your life. And so good for them, but I just want to shout them out because the ability to wake up at that hour 5 days a week and forget whether you even, forget that. Just go to the baseline that you can speak cogently on sports.
About sports that occurred the night before.
That just occurred hours before that. I once asked Mitch, I was like, what is your routine? And he's like, it's always different, which makes it even more mind-boggling. How is it always different?
So I worked on that show when we were in the heart of the pandemic, and it was basically the only show going at the network. I know you started up a little bit after, but we were going in at I was waking up at midnight and would go into the South Point. I mean, that's what that schedule's like for those guys working on that shift. And it was easier back then. Why? Because there was no sports going on, right? So I could actually go to bed at 5 p.m. and wake up at midnight. But that is the type of sleep schedule that you're talking about. So, 7 years, that is incredible that they did it for that long. Happy for them that they get to move to an afternoon. And I caught a bit of the show this morning. Thought the best line was, toss out the alarm clocks. Don't have to worry about that ever again.
For the rest of their days on Earth. So shout out to those two guys who, by the way, in case you missed it, I should probably have said this at the beginning, they announced this morning on Follow the Money that they are moving. The show's not ending. They are moving to afternoons, 4 to 7 Eastern, 1 to 4 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday, beginning this coming Monday, Labor Day, 3 days from now.
Time-wise, we're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. Yeah. People were wondering. We're not going anywhere. We're right here, same time slot, every day. I've been doing this time slot for 7.5 years. They'll have to take. What's the line? They'll take me out of my whatever it is. Pull me out of here. I have no idea. So 7.5 years we've been doing this. So again, tip of the cap, the ultimate tip of the cap to those two guys. From the tennis world, yesterday, quite a day. We had ourselves a day, people. 5-0, 4 of them dogs. And we just got so much love on Twitter yesterday. People, by the way, people parlaying. We should show some of these parlays people were doing. But it was like a 69-1 parlay or something like that, hitting them all. But it began with the biggest dog of them all, Jordan Thompson, in the morning. Straight sets over Hubert Urkacz. Then Jesse Buzas Monero's a plus 157 dog. Straight sets over Katie Bolter. Then, Daniel Evans was the guy who was, Nuno Borges, he was down a break early to Thanasi Kokkinakis, and you're like, well, this is probably going to, straight set winner, plus 115 over Kokkinakis. Daniel Evans, who played the longest match in U.S. Open history 2 days before that, straight sets over Mariano Navone. He overcame a couple breaks, too. And then Karolina Muchova, the nightcap, over Naomi Osaka, the 2-time U.S. Open champion. Muhova was just fantastic, and she won in straight sets. So not only a 5-0 with 4 dogs, but 13-0 in sets. Here's just one example from Nick Kalt. What are his odds here? 69-1, something like that. So, just by the way, we don't endorse the parlays, but people apparently were doing them on their own. So we got a whole bunch. By the way, some as little as $3 Canadian we got from some people.
This one threw me off this morning. I believe this is the Canadian dollars. Yes, the CAD.
One. Yeah. So good on everybody.
What was that? 20 to win 1,300. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just what I said is this has been a very interesting 2024 calendar tennis season because hard court season, you can just keep flashing some of these up. By the way,
250 to win almost 20 grand.
By the way, one of these will.
So there's big tips golf though. This is
this is different. What we're getting at here, I think he had 2. One of his is different, which we'll get to momentarily. But I just want to say this: it's 2024. The calendar season of tennis has been just a roller coaster ride because hard court season to begin was fantastic. Then clay was like super unlucky, and believe me, I'm aware of what's bad and what's unlucky, and it was just relentlessly unlucky. But you just have to, if you believe in your process, you just stick with it. It's sort of a sort of macro lesson with handicapping. Then grass season did suck. Like it wasn't just unlucky; it sucked. Then the Olympics and hard courts returned again. It was another soaring thing. And then last week we just couldn't. What's going on here? And then so it's nice to have a day where it all manifests. Nobody quits on you. It's been a very unlucky year with the number of things that have happened. So it could have been even greater year. But it is a winning year. Zach and Cheese hat tip to Gil tennis selections given out. Not only did Gil sweep, he didn't drop a set masterclass. Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope everybody cashed with us. I don't want to read through all these, but rumor has that the owner of the sushi place listens to ANG, and he will now allow you to announce the sushi place. 5 dogs, 5 winners, all straight sets. Mazel tov. Thank you, Ryan Morstein. My mishpucha. Michael Harrison. These sportsbooks are going to start taking down those lines again. Great job today, Gil. Sets up for a nice weekend. I only have one play today as Jack Locke showing. This is, by the way, every pick from every host and every guest in every sport is at VSiN.com/picks for subscribers. And these is how they appear. That's how they appeared yesterday. Jack Locke's, what a day. Muhova. Oh, by the way, our Muhova quarter bet still obviously moves along, as well as Kalinskaya in Q2, where Elena Rybakina pulled out. That was part of the handicap, that she's very, sort of unreliable.
Oh, that's what happened yesterday?
Yeah, she pulled out. It's her 7th tournament of the year that she's pulled out of.
Are you serious?
Yeah, something's going on with her. When she plays, she's great. But
wait, what is it like?
It's been abdominal stuff.
It's like real stuff, though? It's not like I'm down and quitting, that sort of thing?
Well, she did break up with her coach, but there's been something going on with her all year, and I don't want to speculate. I don't know what's going on. I hope she's okay. Today it was more with a handicap. It was more of there was a few that like the numbers suggested I should play. I may live to regret not playing them, but I did not pull the trigger on Junsheng Shang against Casper Ruud, even though there was some value on him. I respect Casper Ruud's game too much to just trust the numbers implicitly on that. Also the same thing with Elena Gabriela Rus against Paula Badosa, who's our Q3 futures play. Her numbers are spectacular, but this is a big step up in competition, so I don't necessarily make the translation to a bet. The only bet is on Elise Mertens. Got Elise Mertens at plus 199 over the American Maddie Keys. This should not be close to plus 199. So that's the only play I landed on today. Sorry, after the 5-0 to only have one play, but that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Not going to force plays. Elise Mertens plus 199 over Madison Keys, also dictated by the numbers. What's the number right now on Mertens? She is plus 193, so still very, very available.
Also, how much more does it feel like you don't need to force plays after 5-0?
Oh, yeah. Back it up.
It's so much easier to be like, nope, I'm going to go real light.
The big story, though, and this is the biggest story in sports, with apologies to Dion, the biggest story in sports yesterday was Carlos Alcaraz lost in straight sets to Botic van de Zandschulp.
Obviously.
I mean, there's no way you could predict this. Alcaraz, 21 winners and 27 unforced errors. It's like somebody else inhabited his body. Zach Cohen, our own Zach Cohen, did a great write-up at this at VSiN.com. Before the match, you could have gotten Zandschulp at about 28-1, something in the 20s to 1. Alcaraz was minus 10,000. By the way, there's minus 10,000 favorites in tennis all the time, like when Sinner or Djokovic or Alcaraz play somebody much lesser than them. But they never come, rarely in the history of tennis. Zach does a great job pointing out the history. Alcaraz lost as a minus 20,000 favorite against Fabian Morazan last year in Rome. I remember that. So that might have been a little bigger of a dog. I will argue, and he says many will argue, I will argue this, that Robin Soderling's fourth-round win over Rafa Nadal at the French Open in 2009 was the biggest upset of all time. But Zach points out the odds don't actually reflect that. Soderling was plus 1575 in that match, not what Van de Zandschulp was yesterday. And then just by average odds at a major, he says Lucas Rosal's win over Nadal at Wimbledon in 2012, I don't even remember that, might take the cake. He said the average odds on Rosal was plus 22. Oh, it was 22 to 1. But last night, what the heck was that?
I've heard the name 10 times. I still can't say it right.
Botic Van de Zandschulp?
Yeah. Botic.
There was a primetime action where he was playing. I'll refresh your memory on the other side. What about Dion? That's next.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
At VSiN, we've got you covered before, during, and after every game. Jumpstart your game day with Tim Murray and Jonathan Von Tobel on VSiN Primetime at 6 Eastern. They'll get you ready before the first tip, puck drop, and pitch, ensuring you're ahead of the game. Then stay in the loop during all the action with the Greg Peterson Experience at 9. And as the night wraps up, join Matt Humans and Wes Reynolds on VSiN Tonight at 11, giving you the first look at tomorrow's lines to get an edge on the next day's bets. All this and more, only on VSiN, the sports betting network. VSiN is extending our VSiN Pro Football Special. That means for $175, you'll get access to both our NFL and college football betting guides, plus so much more. With VSiN Pro, you'll receive daily picks straight to your inbox, detailed analysis on every game, and exclusive data like our betting splits to help you become a sharper bettor. Get all this for just $175 through the Super Bowl. Or try a monthly subscription and get your first 30 days for only $19. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe.
This isn't your typical betting show. This is the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN.
Forget what you know.
Done.
Because we're rewriting the playbook.
I'm Sean Second, the Money Green, with my partner in picks, Ryan Real Money Kramer. And every Friday night, we're taking over VSiN, giving our best bets. And, of course, talking a ton of trash on everyone that costs us money.
We don't follow trends, we set them.
Bit of a stretch, but we are the Sports Gambling Podcast live here every Friday night, 9 p.m. East, 6 p.m. Pacific on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The NFL season is about to kick off. You can't afford to be on the sidelines. To get you ready, we've released an updated NFL betting guide with post-preseason updates for every team, new insights on players to watch, Week 1 betting systems, and, of course, more best bets. Grab our football season special. Get full VSiN Pro access from now through the Super Bowl for just $175. That's over 5 months of daily best bets, exclusive betting splits data, Top-rated betting systems, 24/7 video analysis, special edition guides. Time ticking, though. With the NFL season 6 days away, you need to act now to get the most out of every game. Lock in your VSiN Pro access through football season for only $175. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidlin, live from Bar Canada at the D. We get to, by the way, is this our last day at Bar Canada, Kelly?
Maybe, Gil.
I'm just starting to put 2 and 2 together.
Maybe.
Is this the last time we're ever going to have to wear a headphone and have a dent in our hair every day? Walking around town?
The hair dents.
Hair dents.
I could do things after the show without having to take a shower first.
Let's see. Let me read some of these. Let me read some of these tweets, shall we? We get tweets at Beatty the Book. Always appreciate the feedback. Best listeners in the game. Absolutely. This is, let's see. Montreal Max. After Gil's amazing board sweep in tennis yesterday and the prices those generated on parlays, there should be a line at the A&G table this morning with people dropping envelopes off like the wedding scene in Goodfellas, or as Craig says, you got a tip. My goose hit a big parlay. Even backdoor little Joey says. This is from, let's see, David J. Damn, Gil, excellent work. Never made a tennis bet in my life, but if you're going to make it this easy. Bentley, kicking myself for not subscribing to VSiN sooner. Ride or die, Gil. Let's go. And Sam S. at Samuel Statkis, pardon me. Alcaraz goes down in straight sets to Van de Zandschulp last night. After this and the loss to Mon-Fri, is there any macro concern for Carlitos? Yes, there kind of is. Like, that was just bizarro last night. And I was, Kelly, I was going to tell you, when we did primetime action, me, you, and Matt Brown, and I want to say, what was it, 2021 this is? Because I used to do the 2 shows a day then. And
2 years ago. Yep.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, I've been on a numbers game for 2 years now.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, that sounds
But
right.
I was off primetime action well before you were, wasn't I? So I think this was, anyway, 20, whatever.
Maybe like a month or two, if anything.
Okay, but U.S. Open was probably 2020, whatever it was, 2021 or 2022. It's not the point. God.
2021 or 2022.
Botic Van de Zandschulp was playing a match while we were on air at, like, Louis Armstrong, and you might remember this part. I think it was Louis Armstrong and not Ash, where it's not closed, and it's open air on the sides like SoFi is, and umbrellas and stuff was flying. All was flying all around. Yeah.
They legit got hit by a hurricane.
That was Van de Zandschulp, who at that time in tennis was sort of like with Holger Rune, one of these guys that was going to be on the come up, and then it never happened for Van de Zandschulp. He lost in straight sets at Winston-Salem last week to Kazau.
Wow, good memory. That was a crazy night. I remember leaving. I remember leaving the show that night, and because we were like, "Is this really the weather's this bad at the U.S. Open?"
Yeah.
Get in my car, call my buddy Casey. Casey gets brought up on the show a lot. But, we split contest entries. He lives in New York, and I'm like, "Yeah, is there really like a hurricane going on there?" And he goes, "I'll never forget. He was leaving the gym. He's the guy who doesn't check the Weather Channel or something. Went to the gym, worked out, and came out, and the whole parking lot was flooded. He couldn't get out of there."
Bro, 1993 Hurricane Andrew in Miami. My dad and his buddy were the last people to leave Miami because they were both like,
it'll be nothing.
It's bull.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
That was a bad one.
That was terrible. Ruined Key Biscayne too. Grissom commenting on the Tim Murray dunk video. He says, "Are we just going to ignore the double dribble? What is this, the NBA?" And then Michael Burns about Mitch and Paul, who we were paying tribute moments ago. He said, "I feel their pain. I work nights, go to bed after your show, worked 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. here in St. Louis. It's a vampire's life," my friends say. It is. I used to do, forget the 2 shows a day here at VSiN. I used to do midnight to 6 a.m. at KMEL back in the day. Renell, who used to do the morning show at KMEL in San Francisco, who then became the Giants PA announcer, she used to find me asleep on the console as records were playing. That's playing records, right? That's playing music.
Records.
Or it's not even records. It was what we called carts. We're like 8 tracks. We just shoved them into a machine. But again, that's the main point I want to say about them. To wake up at that hour and to keep those hours and to be able to know what you're talking about is just incredible. It's awesome.
What was it like when they first invented the radio signal, Gil?
Well, let me tell you, before that, when they invented fire, that was a day.
I was playing the record.
Sorry.
I don't know. I'm just imagining like the 1940s like radio stations.
Why I used to talk like this.
Right. Yeah.
Tim Lawson texts in, LOL at not together, by the way. Apparently you and I are waking up
Yeah,
not
you
together,
felt the
by the
need
way.
to specify that.
Just want to make sure. Dion, yesterday, did you see this?
I did. Yeah, watched a lot of that game. I got burnt. Hey, college football's back. Kelly's losing bets.
Yeah, it is.
I thought I was all big genius jumping in pretty early, betting live overs in that game because the first few drives, you're like, nobody's stopping anybody here.
The whole thing with, first of all, Colorado, for those who missed it, Colorado beats North Dakota State, FCS Power North Dakota State, 31-26. They win but don't cover. The first, most of that game, what was everybody texting around the same comment, some variation of same old Colorado D and same old Colorado offensive line kind of thing, right? But you're right, it was like a track meet. You figured whoever got it was like whoever could break serve, you thought was going to win the game, basically, to use the tennis analogy. But the end of the game just deserves a mention because, First of all, there is no shame in not covering against North Dakota State. May I just say that? North Dakota State is a good football team. And so the fact that Colorado, didn't cover is not like a slam on Colorado. The fact that they won is still the most important thing from a non-betting perspective. But at the end of the game, they're up 5, and everybody who saw this knows where I'm going here. North Dakota State has 1 timeout left. It's less than 2 minutes. Colorado can run out the clock. They can run it out. They've won the football game. So what do they do on first down? Shedeur drops back to pass and heaves it. So now everybody, of course, the conspiracy folks are like, there's one of two things. Either he's padding his son's stats, right? He wants to pad Shedeur Sanders' stats for, a Heisman run.
Yeah.
Or 2, they're trying to cover the spread. And by the way, I'm not denying either of those two theories.
Well, who was the wide receiver that had the big night? Dion was talking about it, literally padding the stats in the postgame. He was like, he finished 198 yards. We should have made sure we get him 2 more.
Talk about Travis Hunter?
No, not Hunter. Horn. Horn.
Joe Horn Jr.
Yeah, Joe Horn Jr. Thank you.
Or the third. I can't even keep track anymore.
Yeah.
But
Joe Horn's kid.
The point being, right, Joe Horn, he famously of the cell phone removal in the end zone when he was playing for the Saints. But that put the game in jeopardy. So it stops the clock. By the way, there was a subsequent pass to that, too. So North Dakota State ends up with the ball. Yeah, it was, 30 seconds left in the game, a little more than that, but whatever it was, around 30-second mark. But they were able to complete a couple passes, and so they got into Hail Mary range. Hail Mary. They got into – sorry, a little too far. They got into Hail Mary range, and they heaved the ball at the end, and it was short, but the dude caught it like he ends up at the 4-yard line. So – imagine, for as many people, the percentage of people that dislike Deion Sanders going into the game, for all the reasons one might dislike Deion, right? Most notably, most recently, not allowing reporters to ask a question if he felt like their publication slighted him.
Which is just
insane.
Yeah, from a journalism background.
But imagine if they lose that football game, dude. Imagine if the criticism, the incoming he would get for that.
Yeah, the one thing I can't deny, however you feel about, Deion, Colorado, what's happened there, oh boy, is it entertaining. And it feels like the beginning of last season all over again, except for last season we had that unknown, right, of when is this run going to stop when they were winning games early.
Oh, we knew it was going to stop on the schedule last year with Oregon.
This is, but it's still fun watching these guys. Like, I would love it if they were able to actually put together a good season.
Oh, I love Shedeur Sanders. The offense.
Hunter's amazing.
The offense is just incredible to watch, man. And I just want to say one other note to this game. That Mark Jones is just a travesty calling these games. Like, he's so in Deion Sanders' in camp with some of he's like a mouthpiece for some of the Sanders stuff. There was something I didn't catch. I caught the tail end of it. Someone can tweet in about it. They'll get the details better than I will. But he parroted something about the reason that people were criticizing Deion had something to do with religion or something. I missed it. But it was like, Mark Jones, you're the announcer, dude. Stop clearly being the mouthpiece of one side of this football game. It's just awful, I thought. So anyway, Colorado gets the win. And again, that was the most heavily bet college football game, at least up to kickoff yesterday. We'll see if that changes between now and the marquee matchups this weekend in college football. But that was the most heavily bet college football game of the entire weekend, and people were hugely divided on it. And I didn't touch it. I was not involved because I kind of figured it could have landed anywhere, and that's kind of what it was, Plinko.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I want to say good call by North Dakota State backers, but it was up in the air. I brought this up earlier. It's amazing to think that they're going to have two guys go like in the top 5 of the draft and go like 500. But last night it felt that way.
500 would be a feat. We'll come back. I don't know. Why don't we talk some college football and some baseball next?
Don't bet college football this season without VSiN's College Football Betting Guide. It's packed with previews of 134 FBS teams, 10 conference breakdowns, and analysis of every new head coach and more. Plus, power ratings and best bets from all the VSiN experts and contributors. The guide is out now, and the only way to get it is to become a VSiN Pro subscriber. Head on over to VSiN.com/subscribe and join us on the Sports Betting Network. VSiN is extending our VSiN Pro Football Special. That means for $175, you'll get access to both our NFL and college football betting guides, plus so much more. With VSiN Pro, you'll receive daily picks straight to your inbox, detailed analysis on every game, and exclusive data like our betting splits to help you become a sharper bettor. Get all this for just $175 through the Super Bowl. Or try a monthly subscription and get your first 30 days for only $19. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe.
numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on a numbers game, live from Bar Canada of the Day. It's Gil Alexander. It's Kelly Bidlin. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Paul Zhang at Zhang100. Glad you're staying in the 10 a.m. Eastern time slot. Do we know who's taking 7 a.m.? Hey, enough with the questions.
Find out Monday morning.
Todd Hoyer, going to miss them in the morning. He's talking about Mitch and Paul. In case you missed it, Mitch and Paul announcing that Follow the Money is moving to afternoons, 4 to 7 Eastern, 1 to 4 Pacific, starting this Monday. After 7 years of doing that time slot, Todd Hoyer says, going to miss them in the morning. Would hope it's Gil, but I don't think Gil and Kelly get up that early. No, we don't. Sorry, did I say that loud?
Get up early enough.
That's right. The numbers, guys. No barking from the dog, no smog. Mama made the breakfast with no hog. It was a good day. That's for sure. It was with tennis. Doesn't sound that. He says that part doesn't sound so special, the smog and Mama cooking you the breakfast with no hog. But you should celebrate with some fat burger for lunch, Gil. Yeah, 2 in the morning, got a fat burger. Chance Copperpot. Gil, thanks for the tennis dogs yesterday, but I'm sorry. Big whiff not giving out 25-1 with Van de Zandschulp. Over Alcaraz. I'm sorry. My apologies on that.
Is Chance still the reigning sort of sharp money survivor? I believe they do like the. Oh, he lost on Wednesday. Sorry.
I do not know.
Sorry, Chance.
Chance says, come on. Happy to see y'all staying in the same time slot as we move into the new VSiN season. And then Tokyo 2021 or 2020-21. He said, great article by Zach, as you pointed out, on VSiN.com about the Alcaraz upset. Follow up to your note, quote, odds makers knew people would keep hammering Alcaraz. That's Zach's note. So when were the right times to back Botic in play? Zach was, I don't know what this refers to, but maybe Zach had this part in the article. But it just to give you an idea about tennis odds, when Carlos Alcaraz, and this is all derivative, right? It's all formulaic, a minus 10,000 or so favorite pre-flop, loses the first 2 sets to Botic Van de Zandschulp, you probably say to yourself, oh, Alcaraz has to be a dog here. No, he was like a minus 170 dog heading into the last set.
Heard Matt Vasgersian say it this morning on Follow the Money. He hopped on Botic. I can't say the guy's name. He hopped on him then at plus money when he was up 2 sets.
It's Botic Van de Zandschulp. What's the problem?
I can't do it.
What's the problem with you? So no, it was only until he, I guess, got broken late. And it was, by the way, I think it was broken to love. No, maybe he got it to 1540. But it was just like this performance. You're like, what am I watching? So it was just incredible. So, yeah, just to give you an idea about tennis odds and just, again, formulaic, numbers just in terms of preflop in any sport versus what you will see. It's all derivative of the preflop number, and so that's what it was. You're that big of a favorite before, even down 2 sets to nothing. You were still a favorite. At least Carlitos was heading into the 3rd set. So good on Vasgersian. By the way, Botic Van de Zandschulp, Kelly. There's 2 things in this world I can't stand. It's intolerance of other cultures. And something. And Paul Carr joins us, ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on Twitter at Paul Carr, Senior Director of Content at True Media Sports. He is the host of the Expected Value podcast, and all year long, all football season long, doing stuff for The Ringer, all soccer season long, I should say, the global football, doing stuff at The Ringer as well. What exactly is The Ringer gig again?
Ringer Soccer Show. Talking Premier League, Champions League, U.S. when it comes around. So last night we just recorded our Champions League draw reaction show and looked ahead to the Premier League weekend.
I love it. Good for you, man. Multimedia celebrity you are. Let's talk about, before we get to your Premier League picks, which, by the way, 1-2 last week. Paul Carr's the guy who moves the chains every year.
Got the plus 150. That's good.
You got the plus 150. So 1-2 is like just half unit gone. A little more than half unit. Champions League. The draw. This is always a thing, right? Because we're always joking. We're like, oh, yeah, the random draw, in quotes. Any news to report from the draw?
Felica will tell you that Liverpool got hosed and Man City got a favorable draw, which is true. And the big story is even broader, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, over the course of the season, but they totally changed the format of Champions League.
Oh.
Instead of 32 teams and 8 groups of 4, everyone plays each other, and the top 2 advance, there are now 36 teams, and it's one giant table. They're all basically one league. And one way or another, the top 24 out of 36 are all going to advance. There's different seedings. The top 8 get a bye, things like that. So I pretty much hate this new format. The draw wasn't as fun because they didn't have as many ping pong balls. Like, they just pushed Cristiano Ronaldo, just hit the no whammies button, and the computer said, "Here's your plane." So there's nothing shady about that at all.
What's no whammies? Yeah. Joker is Wild? Was that Joker is Wild? Or was that a different one?
Or Press Your Luck, I think.
Press Your Luck, something like that, yeah. Still only four sides from the Premier League, though, in the 30s?
Premier League 4, the top couple leagues, based on how they did last year, got 5. So there were 5 from Italy and 5 from Germany.
And was this just the equivalent, like the U.S. equivalent of like saying, hey, we have 64 teams in March Madness. Why don't we go to 128? That kind of thing?
Yeah, more games, more money. The power conferences equivalent, get more teams in. Yeah, that's really what it was. Remember that Super League thing from a couple years ago? This was kind of in response to that, to placate some of those power teams.
Man City, by the way, to win Champions League, plus 250.
That's horrible. Don't get anywhere near that.
Don't get anywhere near that. Real Madrid also 3-1. I'm saying probably don't get anywhere near that either.
No, yeah. I mean, the price is going to be the same in January or February anyway. So if you really like that, then it's really not going to change much for all these favorites.
Arsenal 8-1. Liverpool 12-1 begins all the double digits, along with Bayern Munich also 12-1 from Bundesliga.
I'm glad they're making them play more games. 11 months out of the year isn't.
It's just not enough.
It's not enough.
That's our impression. Like when we close with you on the Premier League season, we're like, all right, we'll see you next season, Paulie. And then like Paul's back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yep, never stops.
All right, Premier League trio of picks, the 3-pack, the weekly 3-pack. What you got?
Yep. Okay, we'll start on. Let me get to the right notes here. We're going to start tomorrow.
Paul doesn't.
A couple games on Saturday.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest win versus Wolverhampton. Plus 105 for Forest. Forest was kind of expected to be in the relegation battle, and they still might be, but I like them a lot more than most people did. They've looked pretty good through 2 games. They smoked Southampton last week. They outshot them 23-5, even though it was only a 1-0 win. And Wolves lost to Chelsea 6-2, and they really haven't figured out the new system of their new manager, Gary O'Neill. And they're not very good defending the counterattack. Chelsea just tore them apart on the counterattack. And guess what Forest can do pretty well? And they did well against Southampton. They counterattack. So this is, again, take the better team at home, getting plus money, plus 105. I'd play this down to minus 110 or so. They're just better, and they have a lot of good players, more good players than a team that's kind of this level you would expect. So Forest win at home, plus 105 is the price I got.
All right, the Nottingham Forest counterattackers, plus 105 versus Wolverhampton, and then Brentford and Southampton, same day. You got a thought here, Matt.
So we talked about Southampton. They've had a lot of possession in their first couple games. They're newly promoted. Possession is kind of what they built a lot of their success in the championship last season on. But again, their defense wasn't that good, and it hasn't been that good. Or it really wasn't against Forest, especially. They were up a man most of the game in the opener against Newcastle, so you can kind of throw that out the window. So Southampton, not that good. Brentford, I picked them to get into the top half at plus money before the season, and I'll stand by that. They got, 4 points or 3 points from their first games. The loss was to Liverpool last week, so nothing you're really concerned about there. Brentford does not have Ivan Toney. He's the guy who was suspended for a while for a betting incidents. That's not the reason. He's just not back with the team yet. He may leave in the transfer window, but that doesn't really matter because they have enough talent up top to replace him and Brian Mbumo and others. So Brentford, home win, minus 130. I think they're just a lot better. You're talking like a top 10 caliber team against a team that I think will be relegated. Minus 130 is a pretty solid price at home.
All right, we're only 2 matches into the whole season, correct? At this point, like we're super duper
That's right.
Still.
Yeah, no big takeaways from anything. But, sometimes you want to extrapolate just for fun, though.
Can we take away anything from the bottom of the table? Like, is somebody just god awful?
I mean, the three newly promoted teams all kind of look like they're outclassed or haven't at least caught up. So your Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich Town all look like they may just go straight back down. But there's a few teams like, Wolverhampton, maybe Everton, that look like they might give them a run for their money toward the bottom of the table.
Leicester City will always have the Leicester City year, though. So there's always
2015, 2016 was one of the most unbelievable sports stories we'll ever see.
It's incredible. Was that 5,000 to 1, something like that?
5,000 to 1 before the season.
To win the Premier League. Sunday, you have a play, and of course, it is a Paul Carr total. What do you got?
Here's your big game of the weekend. Always one of the big games of any Premier League season. Manchester United and Liverpool. Liverpool, of course, they're third favorite for the title. They're in fourth place through a couple of games. They have a pair of 2-0 wins. Manchester United sit in the middle of the table right now. I like the under in this game. We think of this matchup as kind of explosive, high scoring between a couple perennial powers. but both have new managers in the last couple of years, and Liverpool doesn't have Jurgen Klopp. Even though it's 2 games, they've noticeably kind of slowed their pace. All the stats, fewer possessions, not attacking as directly, etc. So I just feel like this will be a game that both teams try to settle down a little bit instead of run the fast break like they kind of both tended to. So just less chaos in general between these two. That's what I think we'll see. Could be kind of cagey, 1-1, maybe someone sneaks a late goal, something like that. Just like the under 3.5 at -130.
All right, Nottingham Forest over Wolverhampton, Brentford over Southampton on Saturday. That's tomorrow, and then Sunday, Man U and Liverpool under 3.5 goals. The rare underplay, but it is 3.5 for Paul Carr. Always check the juice, shop around from book to book. Paul, good luck. Appreciate it as always, sir.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Paul Carr at Paul Carr on Twitter. Kelly and I will come back. The last undefeated market in the NFL. Who's it going to be? Who we're betting on? That's next. Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
In the heart of downtown Las Vegas, a sports oasis awaits. Stadium Swim, the ultimate outdoor amphitheater. Built for the ultimate sports fan. With a colossal screen that brings the game closer than ever. Reserve a daybed, private cabana, or lounge in the center of it all. 6 pools to dive into as the game heats up. And the best part, there's never an off-season. Open 365 days a year. Stadium Swim, it's always spectator season.
VSiN is extending our VSiN Pro Football Special. That means for $175, you'll get access to both our NFL and college football betting guides, plus so much more. With VSiN Pro, you'll receive daily picks straight to your inbox, detailed analysis on every game, and exclusive data like our betting splits to help you become a sharper bettor. Get all this for just $175 through the Super Bowl. Or try a monthly subscription and get your first 30 days for only $19. Don't miss out on this unbeatable offer. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe.
numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Don't forget to check out our website, VSiN.com. Best bets, betting splits, exclusive articles, odds by state, betting tools, betting guides, some deep dive baseball stats in there, and everybody writing about every sport. Every sport you can imagine in there. Tyler Shoemaker on the WNBA as Caitlin Clark tries single-handedly to destroy everybody's under tickets on the Fever. It seems like everybody had that. Now it's like, are we going to win this under?
Yeah, what I pulled
I'm not involved.
Yesterday, first in WNBA history to hit like the points, assist, and three-pointers
Setting
made.
all kinds of rookie records, man.
Incredible.
Zach Cohen on the Heisman, as we talked about yesterday. Adam Burke on his Week 1 college football pick. Steve Mackin in the same. Wes Reynolds front and center. It's all at vsin.com. Check it out. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Always appreciate the feedback. Best listeners ever, and I mean that. Buddhist man. The end of an era. He's talking about us at the Shield. Glad I was able to make it over to the Shield to meet you, Kelly, and Crackman back in March. Via Con Josi says, the barrage. You never made it feel like we were running against the wind. It's a Seager reference right there. We think. I don't know. Maybe we'll be here on Monday.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I'm not holding my breath.
Look at that, look at that helicopter view of the
Right.
Shield here. Nice job, guys, back there.
Don't be shocked if for some reason we show
That's
up
right.
here on Monday.
We show up on Monday and we're like, hey, guys.
It's going to take a little while
Hey, guys,
longer.
it's still wearing the headphones. Trip Tepper. He's commenting about my Mark Jones. He says, the homer calls by Mark Jones was such a laughable distraction for an otherwise very entertaining game. Dion arrogantly censors the media, and then in the post-game plays the victim on the backlash. Dion, you created this bleep storm. That according to Trip Tepper. Randy McKay, our buddy Randy McKay. Your buddy Randy McKay. You guys hang out these days, don't you? No?
Love Randy.
Yeah, that's our guy. He's a North Dakota guy, or is he a South Dakota guy? I can
North
never
Dakota.
remember. He's a North Dakota guy.
Yeah.
So he obviously wanted North Dakota to win. I'm sure he had bets on it too. But he says a great breakdown of the end of the game. I will add, he said, that North Dakota State did have the wrong side of the refs many times. Might cost extra 10 seconds. Going forward, there will be nice value in Colorado games. Congrats to all North Dakota State backers. I was so locked into Osaka Muhova that if I miss any of the refs things early in the game, then that's on me because I was watching tennis. But I will say, I hope Randy doesn't think that interference call was incorrect. That got Colorado into the position where they could have just run out the clock even though they chose not to. Because that was definitely interference. I don't know if he's referring to that one or some other one. This is from Rick Ollier, starting Monday morning from 7 to 10 on VSiN, 7 to 9 on VSiN. New hosts, Sigma Derby Machine and a Walkman playing Bob Seger's greatest hits. We'll talk you through the start of the NFL season. No, it'll still be us. It'll still be us. Okay, last undefeated team, National Football
Can I hit a couple news
please,
items real quick?
Breaking-ish
news. Mike McDaniel signs a contract extension with the Miami Dolphins through the 2028 season, so you've got that. And then just caught this note from Mike Renner. Travis Hunter only came off the field for 2 plays of that entire game last night. Moves from 50-1 to 15-1 in the Heisman market.
Well, when I was a kid, Roy Green did that for the St. Louis Cardinals. Played offense and defense when he's a rookie, wide out in corner. I don't remember anybody since then. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody.
I mean, he looked real good at wide receiver last night, I thought.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
There's also like that one, like
phenomenal.
it was like the 40-yard catch he had, or he made a couple guys miss. But I'm like, what? It's like the whole when you have a special athlete like that. I love when they give them like 10 yards like to work with, and
cushion.
it's like Sanders, 10 yards of cushion. And Sanders just throws it out to him.
But
And it's
also,
like, he's gonna make a couple guys
but
miss.
not just the deep ball. Like some of the catches he makes when he contorts his body.
Right.
You're like, how did he catch that?
Well, and that touchdown where it was just like throw it up to me and I'll go get it. It's not like he's 6'6" out there.
By the way, the big NFL news yesterday. You bring up the Mike McDaniel extension. Mike McDaniel extension. Correct. Sorry.
We're going to struggle all year.
Sorry. It's going to be tough. But obviously, the big news yesterday, Brandon Ayuk, what do you know? Signs a deal with the Niners, 4 years, $120 million. I just have one question, Kelly. Why couldn't he have done this weeks ago?
I don't have the answer for that, Gil.
This contract was on the table for him.
I get worried for these guys because we keep seeing those injuries early with these guys that don't practice or play. And, man, I don't know. It just sucks.
Add the Brandon Ayuk contract story to candidates of all-time waste of time stories.
Yeah.
You know.
I just get worried these days for these injuries because I hate.
Yeah.
We talk about injuries. It's such a large part of the NFL every single year, and I don't care what my bets are. I'd still rather see teams as healthy as possible, and it really stinks when injuries occur partially because of reasons like this.
Kelly just wants fair play and no one to get hurt. That's what Kelly
right.
Bidlin's about.
Stop getting hurt.
No, but it's a great point, though, because that is oftentimes the result of these holdouts.
Yeah.
And that's, we hope not. Obviously, Trent Williams.
I'm not saying it's going to happen.
No.
It's just like we've seen it happen too many times.
Trent Williams still absent with the San Francisco 49ers.
That is the bigger story.
Much bigger.
Somehow, why are we not talking about that every single day?
I try to talk about it every day.
Because you brought it up. I mean, with Washington, we've seen him do this before. What do you think? What makes you think he's going to be playing before November?
That dude, and it was a medical thing in D.C., right, where he was like, I don't like how you people misdiagnosed me, because he had serious health issues. And he said, I'm never playing for you again, and he never played for them again. He was like, that's it. So I don't know if he's going to be that stubborn with what he wants here in San Francisco, because it's a different matter, but we'll see. Last undefeated team in the NFL. We touched on this yesterday. I'd like to touch on it again. The 49ers are the short shot, plus 750, followed by the Lions at 8-1. Then it's the Dolphins and the Chiefs at 10-1, the Eagles at 12-1, the Packers at 13-1, the Bengals, as Matt Brown calls them, at 14-1, and then the Jetropolitans, the New York Jetropolitans at 15-1. Texans, the only other team shorter than 20-1. And I was mentioning this yesterday, in case you missed it, that, I'll add on to that, which is, I believe that the Lions 8-1 is, I'll put it this way, and I related it to the last winless market. Again, the last winless market, to me, it is obvious that the Patriots ought to be the short shot. And unlike last year where we cashed Carolina 15-1, that was a sexier pick. New England is so clearly worthy of the short shot status in last winless. But there's the New York Giants team that if they could just lose to the Vikings in week 1, they might lose out a long way. I think the last undefeated is similar in that I think Detroit is the last undefeated equivalent to New England. Like, if you look at Detroit's schedule, because San Francisco, to me, right? I look at the Niners schedule. They play the Jets right off the bat, right? Mm-hmm. So that's already, like, hurdle number 1.
Yeah, there's a couple I like in this. I'll get to mine, obviously, but the top of the board was not that attractive to me.
Not that attractive, because the Niners not only play the Jets, but, a couple weeks after that, they have to go at the Rams, and then they have at Seattle, and they have a Kansas City and Dallas game before Halloween.
Frankly, I don't know how they're the short shot.
I don't get why they're the short shot at all. Now, Detroit, to me, ought to be the short shot, and I would get why people would say that about Detroit. And by the way, that's not a bad number either.
This is another market, right, where the buy helps you early.
The buy helps you early. That's right. And again, read the rules, because if you're playing the same day, let's say two teams are undefeated on the last day here at Circa, for instance, and one team loses early in the day, and you happen to lose late in the day, the team that loses late in the day is the winner.
I don't think I'll ever forget you cashing over that.
Well, it didn't end up mattering, but I got it anyway, because I had already won it before I thought I had won it, kind of thing. But Detroit's schedule, by the way, just to let you know, they do have a game against the Rams to open, which is not easy. But then it's Tampa, Arizona, Seattle at home, bye. That's big. At Dallas. I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world either, but then it's at Minnesota, Tennessee. That's not the easiest thing in the world either. So, again, I get to the Jets, which, shout out to Will Hill, who talked about this on the show and has it in the VSiN Pro Football Betting Guide, 15-1. If they somehow beat the Niners on Monday, which I feel is a big possibility, and I may even already have an against the spread bet. I may have a money line bet on them. The Jets are the team, man, 15-1. I think I'm going to have a bet on this, Kelly. I think I'm going to bet this. I like this because after that game against the Niners, it's Tennessee, home New England, home Denver, at Minnesota, home Buffalo, at Pittsburgh, at New England, and then you're at Halloween. I think that's the bet. You?
I like that.
15-1.
You know what though? You're actually the Lions one keeps. I'm keep coming back to now because I don't know that I fully factored in the buy factor. That's huge.
Nothing
is
huge. Bigger than a buy.
Because I'm kind of doing the same thing too. Or I'm kind of looking out to about Halloween time.
By the way, for both undefeated and last winless, nothing better than a buy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So The two I had written down were Jets were up there for me. I do like that one. I had written down the Eagles. My favorite, I think, is the Texans, actually. Texans, you get at the Colts, Bears at home, at the Vikings, Jaguars at home, Bills at home, Patriots, Packers. That's everything up to Halloween. Sorry, then the Colts at home again.
You're talking Texans here?
Yeah, Houston Texans. Mm-hmm. And you're getting a longer price on them. They were
16 to
1. Getting a longer price. I just thought there was a little bit more value down the board. I didn't think you have to look right at the top of the board. However, I do think I keep circling back to that Lions one. I think that might actually be the one.
No, but that's a good call. Texans are viable there, too. I think I am going to bet the Jets, though, between now and the beginning of the season. 6 days away, NFL season commences. Chris, who's this guy? Chris Fallica, how do you pronounce this? Fox Sports, the Bear, next with his college football.
Don't wait until fall to start betting the NFL. Get a jump start now with the VSiN NFL.